Hi, I'm Trisha Barretto, and this is my twin flame death soul merging experience at 90 days. So it's been about 90 days since my twin flame that died walked into me. I literally felt him walk into my stomach, his soul enter my stomach. Um, and I didn't keep notes of everything that's been happening the past 90 days. It's a lot. And I'm also writing a book about some of this stuff called Twin Flame Death that will be out July 29th. I'll put the link, all the links will be in the description. But I'm just, yeah, going off the top of my head here. So I have another video where I describe what it was like the first 2 weeks where his soul joined me in this body. And that video is on my YouTube as well for just Open Hearts Now. Um, John, that's the acronym. John is the acronym for that. And my twin, his name is John. So, I'll just kind of fast forward if you're more interested in what happened in those first 2 weeks or what it felt like for me when he first walked in. You can go back and watch that video. So we're almost 3 months in, 3 months or so, and a lot has happened. I have way more clarity and understanding than I did the first couple weeks. There was a lot of things I had to figure out. I didn't know if I would figure it out. I didn't know how I would feel. Everything like we don't know, we all kind of have soul amnesia, whether we plan this. It really does feel like my soul and his soul must have sat together and planned it out. Now, there's so much content on the internet about twin flames and soul merging and these kinds of things, and I can only speak from my experience. So that's what I'm sharing here, what my experience with my twin and spirit has been like. Um, let's see. I guess let's start with the physical stuff because for me, that's kind of like, how do I know this is real? How do I try to understand what's happening? So, we look at the physical stuff. The first things that I noticed within the first couple weeks, I shared in the previous video, were healing. He was able to use his energy in my body to heal some pain I had and some things I had with my body. That healing continues. I just got over a sinus infection. He helped with that. I get headaches. He helps with that. There's just so many things I notice the way that when he's healing me because it feels like uh, I think I use this in the other video. It's like icy hot, that stuff you put on your skin when you hurt a muscle or you have a strain. It feels like that, but on the inside. And so I can feel it coursing through my body, going to the place that it needs to go where I need the healing. And if it's like my whole body, sometimes I can feel it in my whole body. In addition to John healing me physically, I was able to ask him to heal my dog and my partner as well through my hands. So I asked him, my dog was worried about my dog. I didn't think she was feeling well. And I said, can you help me heal her? And I put my hands on her. And sure enough, within minutes, that feeling, seconds actually, not even minutes, seconds, the healing, that icy hot feeling on the inside of my body went right to my hands where I was touching her. And I did the same thing for my partner. He's been having leg problems. He's in leg surgery right now as we speak. But like he's been having a lot of pain and stuff. And so I asked John, can you help me to take away some of this discomfort and pain he's feeling? And I put my hand, I didn't put it on my partner's leg because he has a big wound there. I put it on his shoulder and I said, John, can you help heal his pain? And within 30 minutes, my partner didn't know what I was doing, but within 30 minutes, he told me, my leg feels a lot better. So I think it did relieve some of that discomfort. I don't know how much healing, I can't say for sure because my partner went in for leg surgery today. But it just goes to show it kind of made me think about how now I'm not Christian anymore. I'm not. I was at time in my life, but I believe in God. That's really my foundation. Our Creator is the foundation of my whole existence. So I really have a solid relationship with God, and I'm always growing in it. But I think about how we hear stories and we read stories in the Bible about how Jesus put hands on people and healed them. And um, I also know about like Reiki and different types of energy healing. I believe in all this stuff, but it really kind of showed me a different aspect of how we can heal each other. And it's been really beautiful to see that. That John's able to not only heal me, his twin flame, but he's able to use this body to help. And together, we're able to help heal a dog and heal another human. It's so freaking beautiful. Um, and then the healing doesn't stop there. I would say that since John has been with me, I have literally felt my heart space healing. It's kind of hard to describe. At times it feels like my heart's really full, like almost spilling over, like you would imagine like a cup full of water spilling over. Like my heart feels like really full like that. At times where hard conversations are had, at times where I've been writing this twin flame death book, I've had to go back in my history and really hard things that I lived through and painful things, and grief, and really revisit them with him. And sure enough, I find myself in tears, but I feel like those tears aren't just like normal tears. They're very much healing, very cathartic. I know there's emotional healing that's happening. My heart space is healing. I feel mental stuff healing. There's definitely spiritual healing happening here as well because I feel very whole and complete. A lot of these things that I'm sharing, it's really hard to articulate and find the right words to describe what it feels like here in this physical body, in this physical world. But it's very much like connected to my heart. I think, when we think about our souls and we're like, what does our soul want? Who is our soul? Like, who are we as a soul? I think our heart is always a great pathway, because it's so connected to our soul. So if you're ever trying to figure that kind of stuff out, tap in with your heart. What does your heart feel? So it's a lot of that. I'm just trying to think of all the healing that's coming. I feel like the healing isn't necessarily, it could be just this lifetime, but there's always this kind of underlying feeling like there's more healing happening with me and John together. Um, that might be from other times that we existed together going on here. There's also like this feeling like I can't believe I didn't know I was missing him and I was so unaware for so much of my life that we are twins. Um, because with him it feels like I feel complete. How did I ever exist without him? I feel so complete. I never knew previously that anything was missing from me. But with him, it's like, whoa, this is what I feel. My soul feels complete. There's a completion here. Um, I would say when we look at healing, me and John have been doing psychic mediumship work for 7 years or so professionally. Before I even knew he was my twin flame, I knew he was my boyfriend, my teenage boyfriend that was helping me do psychic mediumship work, but I didn't have the awareness he was my twin flame. So I would say that we have been healing through our work and through our teaching. We've been teaching mediumship and intuition, and stuff like that all along. And we're doing even more of it now, in a bigger way through our weekly mediumship circle that we host for free on Zoom every week. And we also have the Twin Flame Death Support Group that we have every week on Zoom too, for twin flames that have a twin in spirit. that would like to come and share their experience and get support and give support. So we're definitely doing, and we're writing the Twin Flame Death book. So all these things that we're doing, and even this video, is very much meant not only for our own healing, but to in sharing our experience to help others in their own awareness and their own healing. So that's been pretty, the healing aspect keeps going. Like this is just 3 months in, what I'm aware of right now. So I can bet that there's more healing coming for us, and even those that we share our journey with, and that participate in the circle and in the support group and read the book and all that. So it's just like I always say, John is the gift that keeps on giving. I have to say, this soul merging is the best part of my life, hands down. I've had a lot of love in my life. I've had a lot of hard things, but I've also had a lot of love. I've been a mother. I've had two children, that I've gotten to love, and I've had, loving relationships, and I've had pets that love me so much, and I've had souls that I've gotten to work with, and souls in spirit, and souls living here in these physical bodies. So I've had great amounts of love, and I've had really joyous and happy moments in my life, and I've had really hard things. So I could kind of look at everything in a kind of a complete way and say I've had all these experiences, and yet this soul merging with John is hands down the most loving, biggest experience, best experience that I've ever had in this life. And it's just because it's dismantled. It's not just because, there's several reasons why. One of the reasons why is the biggest reason is he's brought in all the love, all the love. This is unconditional love. Every time I feel John's love, I feel God's love coming through John in a way that I never knew was possible in this life. I've always wanted to feel closer to God, and this is the closest I've ever felt to God is with John with me. And that just like shows me that God's like John is able to embody such an unconditional love straight from our creator. And that's what I'm getting. And the love is like, it's really interesting. And I've shared this with other people, and I'll share it. I'm sharing in the book and wherever else, but I'll share it again here, that it's like John is this unconditional love for me. And then it's almost automatic. Like I don't have to try to love John. It's just natural. It's easy. It's like that's how I know our souls are so interconnected, whether we're two parts of one soul or we're two souls that are like identical in many ways. I can't say with certainty, but what I can say with certainty is that loving him is like loving myself. It's just very natural. It's not the way that I love other people or even my own family or even my own dogs. It's a deeper love. It's a more unconditional love. It's effortless to me. It feels ancient. It feels like I've loved him since I've known me, and loved me. It's just automatic. It's just, that's what it is. And so the love is so great that I get from him and I give him. But there's a third part of this, that together, our love, we're able to create a third type of love. And that third type of love shows up in the work that we're doing, in the creating that we're doing. The Twin Flame Death book, that is a version, or a part of the love that we've created here in this physical world. The Twin Flame Support Group is part of that love that we've created here in this physical world. The Mediumship Circle is part of the love that we're creating here in this physical world. This video is part of the love that we're creating. Every conversation, every psychic medium reading is a part of that. That carries over to the spirit world as well. It's not just in this physical world, because we do mediumship work and we teach mediumship. So we're very much helping souls that are in spirit and animals that are in spirit, as well as humans and animals and physical bodies here. So our love is just expanding out in so many beautiful ways to so many other souls. That it's amazing to me. It's amazing. And it's amazing to me that I didn't even know that we were already doing this in the psychic mediumship work and the missing person work that I was doing with John. I just kind of thought he was my teenage boyfriend that was along for the ride to help me. And little did I know, he was part of me, and we go way back, the furthest back that I could ever go with anybody. And as time goes on, as these 3 months have progressed, I'm really understanding, not because necessarily something I read or something I heard, although some of that stuff has been helpful. It's just the feeling that I have every day when I wake up with him. Um, Okay, so I talked about the healing. I've talked about just the love. I did get some the first 2 weeks in. I did get two Akashic readings. Okay. Now I'm a psychic medium. I feel like when you're able to tap into your own abilities, because these are abilities we all have. Every soul has the ability to tap into the Akashic records. Every soul has the ability to use mediumship. Every soul is psychic. But we're just stronger in some when we practice them and we use them. So I'm just going to share here. I had two readings by two different readers on the same day, and they were very much the same. They were very much the same, but I'm not going to share all of it because it's just too much to share. But I want to let you know these Akashic record readers, they didn't know that I was a psychic medium. They didn't know I was a twin flame. They didn't know anything. There's nothing that they knew about me other than the questions that I asked them. Um, so hold on a second. I wish I would have had this ready. Um, okay. No, not this one. It was the first one, I think. Okay. Okay. So let me get to the important stuff, because these were things that I felt as a psychic medium, but I didn't know how much. Like I needed more clarity. I needed a different voice that I could hear audibly or read their words that was outside of my own self. And so that's why I went looking. And I've tapped into my own Akashic records before. Like I said, we can all do this. It's very easy. Um, all of this stuff, mediumship is very easy. All of it's easy. We're meant to do this. We're meant to be able to have these knowings. So this is just a portion of one of the readings I got. And this one I asked her, I think, 5 questions, and these are some of her responses to the questions. She said, "Is John your twin flame in spirit?" The answer did not come like a declaration, it came like a sigh. Yes, but not in the romantic fairy tales we're told about. This is a bond older than language. You and John are not just two halves of one soul, but two facets of a single ancient fire. Twin flames, yes, but not in the way most understand it. You are not here simply to love each other. You are here to unravel one another, to act as mirrors not only for light, but for shadow. You are meant to awaken each other through disruption as much as through tenderness. That longing you feel even when he's near, it's a longing to be whole. And he activates that ache because he is a part of your wholeness, but he is not its entirety. You were always more than one soul could ever carry. And is this a soul walk in, a braiding? What I saw in that question was not a yes or no. It was a memory. You standing barefoot in a forest with fireflies moving around you, arms stretched to the sky, inviting him in. You made space for this consciously. This is not a case of two spirits jostling for space. It is more sacred than that. You agreed on the level of soul to merge your energies for a time, not fully, not eternally, but as an alchemical act. This is a part of his essence braided into your auric field, yes. But you have not lost yourself. What you're experiencing is a sacred experience, a merging done for a purpose, and it will not last forever. Eventually, you'll unbraid like smoke pulling apart from flame, and you'll be changed, but still you. So, what this feels like to me, the more that I kind of understand things, is that this could have been planned and probably was planned. Like me and John, when we planned these lives, I believe we sat there and we said, we're going to come together at some point in time and we're going to create things that help this world. Um, I've always felt very much that I was put in this world to help make a difference. And I did so in very small ways. I did through um, ministry, I did through crisis counseling, I did through work in healthcare, just in just different ways. And then I did through as a psychic, a professional psychic medium. I did it that way. And now I'm doing it still as a psychic medium, but also going a step further, sharing my own twin flame death experience and our soul merging experience. But there's more. It feels like there's more that we're meant to do here. And that's a big reason why our souls merged. However, I also know that we needed to heal each other, because I can always feel him healing me. I don't know how much I'm healing him, but I hope that's true as well. Um, and we're also here meant to have this experience together, to just be able to have this beautiful experience. Whether it's beautiful or we have hard moments, we're meant to do that together and learn and grow through it all. So it feels very much planned to me. All of this feels very much planned, actually. And I think when I look at all of us as souls, that I think there is some truth to us creating a plan before we come into this life. It's kind of funny because I think of it and I've heard it in songs like, we're like a movie director, and a movie writer. Like we write the script, we shoot the film, like we do it all. And it very much feels like that to me. And all these kinds of things didn't necessarily feel like this to me when I was just a psychic medium. Even though I knew there's souls on the other side and we still exist, and I knew these big things, there was still things that I just wasn't sure of, or sometimes didn't even give it much thought. But with John, it's like the awareness is coming through so much clearer. My soul is coming through so much clearer, and the illusions of this world and all the delusions and all the things are just kind of falling away. And I'm seeing who we are as souls and why we're here more than I'm seeing this world. Though I still see the world, but I have more purpose and understanding and clarity than I ever have had in my life. Um, Let me go back to the Akashic reading. She says, your mission together is not small. It's not about speaking on stages or healing thousands in the public eye, though that could happen. Your mission is to stir, to disturb slumber, to be the match and the spark. Together, your presence creates ruptures in systems that are too tightly controlled, too cold, too mechanical. You are here to reawaken chaos, but the kind of chaos that breathes life back into a dying garden. You activate others by existing, by being real, by refusing to play roles. Your rawness is your ministry. And I was actually sharing that with somebody today in the Twin Flame support group. For a lot of my life, I've kind of gone along with stuff. There's times where I was more rebellious and I spoke up and I went my own way. But I think with John, I feel like I'm more me than I've ever been. Without my ego, without my identity of Trisha, who I am in this body and who I am in this life, it's more of my soul. And my soul is really something else. A very loving, big presence. And that soul, my soul, doesn't like lies and bullshit, doesn't like the fake stuff that is everywhere I look in this world. And sure, I would love to call it out for what it is. But I don't have enough time to call it all out because it's everywhere. It's everybody, and so many people are embodying it. And that's not my purpose to call it all out. But sometimes it is my purpose to call it out, in a way that feels like I'm not just calling it out for the sake of calling it out. I'm calling it out because I want to show the other side of that, the other side of that coin, where the truth is and where the love is. And so John really, I feel like he helps me be the truest version of myself and doing all of it and doing everything. Um, Okay, another question I had was because it was, I've always carried this by myself when it was just me of what am I supposed to do in this world to help? Because I've known since I was a child that I was meant to be here to help. That was part of my purpose. And so that was a question I asked this Akashic reader. I asked, how are me and John meant to help humanity? And her answer says, this answer came like lightning to the spine. Together you crack open hearts that have been numb too long. There is something in the frequency of your connection. Yes, even when you're not physically close, that sends out signals into the collective field. It destabilizes illusion. It awakens grief. It forces honesty. You may work together in creative ways, writing, teaching, maybe even spiritual guidance for others. But the heart of your work is vibrational. It's not what you do, it's what you are when you're in each other's field. And that gift, beloved, comes at a cost, which is why your soul knew to train you so deeply in loneliness, in resilience, in longing. You needed to know how to be empty before you could carry such weight. So, again, this lady didn't know that I'm a psychic medium that has been working for 7 years alongside of John, not knowing he was my twin flame, but doing this work. So we have been guiding people spiritually, giving spiritual guidance for 7 years already. A week before, maybe 5 days or a week before I got this reading, I created Just Open Hearts Now. John is an acronym of justopenheartsnow.org. Everything that I do with my twin flame work, and everything I do with John is through justopenheartsnow.org. I created that website in his honor for the work that we do together. And this lady didn't know that. This reader didn't know that, but it was funny because she used the words crack open hearts. And that's, I'll always say that your heart is connected to your soul. So if you feel like unsure of who you are as a soul, or you just can't tap into your soul, you look at your heart. And so when I think about the mediumship circle, I think of more than just people communicating with the dead. I think about, and I don't really like that word dead because it sounds so final and it just doesn't resonate with me. They're very much alive. I kind of say this, the people in spirit are more alive than the people living, in a lot of ways. So, but it's just like, I know, like, this was a confirmation. Talk about confirmations. This was it. I needed another voice outside of me and John, in the moment that I went and got these readings. And I don't, readings are great, but we really have to develop our own inner knowing and trust our own inner knowing from us and also our twins in spirit. But stuff like this at important turns and times, it can be tremendously helpful because it's validating. I think a lot of like psychic readings, akashic readings can be very validating for us. But you don't want to overdo it with that kind of stuff. You want to work on trusting yourself. And what of your soul contract? I asked her about soul contracts. What did me and John decide that we wanted to do in this life? And so this is what she says. She says, what were the vows, the points of completion you sought in this life? And she said 5 stood out as clearly as carvings in ancient stone, which is funny because the wording that she uses as carvings in ancient stone, there's an association, I think, with me and John with carvings in ancient stones in a past life, but that's another video and for another time, when we talk about past lives. She says, first, to remember, not knowledge from books, but ancient knowing that bubbles up from within like a spring you can't cap, which is very much how I feel when I think about trying to understand everything spiritually. It's like, yeah, I can hear what other people have to say in a book or a video, but how do I know that's true? And how do I know it's true for me? The only way that I'm going to know things are true is it's going to have to come from me and from John, from our souls. That's the only way. Everything else can be helpful. Sure, it can resonate, but I don't jump on bandwagons of people just like regurgitating information that they got from somewhere else. You know what I mean? It really, that's a big deal to me. I don't believe things so easily. unless I experience it. I'm a skeptic that way. Um, okay, second, to be sovereign, to love without losing your voice, to give without becoming hollow. That really stood out to me because since John has been with me these past 90 days, I will say for the first time in my life here, I feel sovereign. I feel strong and powerful and unto myself. Nobody has authority over me. Nobody owns me. I don't want to cry. It took a long time to get to that. And I don't think people in this world feel free. So there's a liberation that comes when your soul merges with your twin flame in spirit. I can't speak about two twin flames that are living because that's not my experience, but I can speak because my twin was in spirit. You know, he went through the process of dying and returning to me this way. Um, and it changes you. It changes you in a way that it's again, it's hard to put into words, but I feel free. I know I'm free. In this life, I feel free and I am free in a way that I never felt before. Um, and losing to love without losing your voice, to give without being hollow. That's so funny. That's almost literal for me because I use my voice so much in the spiritual work I do, and I give so much. When I was a psychic medium before John came in for the soul merger, I felt that I reached the end of myself. I was even contemplating putting the psychic mediumship work on the back burner because the missing person part of my work took me to a place where I just felt depleted, like I couldn't give anymore. Maybe I felt a little bit hollow. And that's when John came to me for the soul merger. And so that played an that was a catalyst, I think, or important turning point for us to get to come together like this. But yeah, okay. Third, to witness others into awakening. You were never meant to convert, convince, or rescue, only to see, truly see, and speak what you see with unshaking clarity. That is very much true in when I do private psychic medium readings for others. That's very much true in the mediumship circle. You know, I always tell people I'm not really teaching. Sometimes it feels like teaching. I kind of struggle a little bit to call myself a teacher. Um, Sometimes, whatever, labels, what are they? Um, but I very much feel like since John has been with me for these past 90 days, I have become a witness to love. I am no longer just a teacher teaching. I am a witness to love. So everything I do, every private psychic reading I do, every psychic medium reading I do, every animal communication reading I do, whether it's for something here in this world or it's for soul and spirit, whether it's the mediumship circle, the twin flame support group, the comments that people leave on these videos about their own unique journey. I am a witness to love, and I am so grateful because I never saw it that way. When I was doing the psychic medium readings for 7 years and the mediumship teaching I was doing, I never, maybe I did, but it wasn't like, wow, I'm witnessing love. But now with John with me, that is such a huge, like every time I'm like, this is a freaking privilege to be able to have this circle and have people come here and show me how much they love others in spirit and how the souls in spirit love them back. And I'm just sitting here and I'm watching it, and it's like the most beautiful thing that I've ever watched. And it just carries over in every part of the work that John and I do together, and the love that we give. And it's so beautiful. Okay, where am I? Um, and yeah, and speaking with unshaking clarity and not trying to convince anybody. You know, people are skeptic. There's gonna be so many skeptics, and I get it because until you experience a lot of these things, even, spirit communication, you just don't know if it's real. I get that. But like a lot of times as a medium, you see like these skeptics and they say horrible things, and I've been like cornered by them, and it's like I'm not meant to convince anybody. And I get people even like attracted to me, because of the work that I do. And I think I always have to remember I'm not meant to rescue people. Like I'm just meant to come alongside of them for a period in their life or a moment in time to love them and create a space of love. So yeah, that really, all of this really, really resonated with me. Fourth, to experience sacred grief, to feel loss so raw that it breaks open the heart and makes space for something divine. Sacred grief, when I think about sacred grief, I think about multiple things. I think about when John died, how I almost tried to take my own life. That should have been a sign to me that something was going on, that the relationship between him and I was something very much more serious than what it looked like on the outside. But I was a teenager. I was 16 and he was 18 when he died, when that happened. And that was a grief and a loss that was so raw that it was like I wanted to die. Um, and then also, I think sacred grief. When I think of sacred grief, I think about the grief that I feel um, when I look at the world and the pain that I carry for the hardness of this world and what other souls suffer through, not always necessarily because maybe they chose it in their soul contract and they wanted to experience it, but just what's happened here in the world, the destruction. Um, I think there's a sacredness to that grief that I feel, and that pain and that grief that I carry with me. And I'm still working on it. I'm still working on it. And finally, fifth, to choose to stay. Even when the world hurts, even when you're exhausted, the bravest act you planned in this life was to stay rooted in your body and say, I will not run. I will stay and I will love again. That hit me like so hard, all of them. But that one, she was like reading my thoughts, because even before John, it's just like, there's so many times where I don't want to be in this world. And I even, and then with John joining me in a soul merger, it's even more so. It's like I want to go because then I can be with him even fully, where I can see him. I can hear every word he says with clarity, where I can really just be with him. And feel that completeness in its full entirety, in a better place where there's only love. And the moment that John joined me in the soul merger, I had just done, I had been working on a missing person case. I'm trying to think which missing person case. Oh, yeah. I had just worked on a missing person case, that it was devastating. A mother and wife was murdered by her husband. And that had been the third one like that with the same scenario. And the body was missing. And the body, yeah, it was missing. And so I was just exhausted, I think, on these type of cases where it was the same thing I was seeing over and over again. And just the heartbreak that it caused me, and the heartbreak it caused the children, the families, and the loved ones, and all of the things I was taking in while communicating with the soul that had been murdered on the other side, these women. And so I remember sitting right here and telling, whoever was listening to me in spirit, I I only want to exist in a place of love. I don't want to exist like this anymore. I only want to exist in a place of love. And that was the defining sentence that I spoke out loud, where John joined me for the soul merger. And we spent 2 days together with him outside of my body, showing me, teaching me how energy works with a soul that's in this physical world, that's only in their energetic body, so they're not in their physical body, with a soul that's in their physical body, and how we could touch each other and feel each other. And it was kind of like a experience and a lesson in how that works. And then he joined me and he came into my stomach. I could feel his soul come into my stomach and join me in this body. Um, and it very much, okay. I think that's what I can share that was really highlighted. And the second reading was like the same thing. It was just like the same thing all over again. Totally different reader. And just she said had the same exact things. And so it was really reaffirming for me that the Akashic records are really a special place where all everything that has existed and will exist and does exist can be found, and we can tap into that ourselves. But again, sometimes it's nice to be able to go to another person and another soul and kind of get that validation and that confirmation from a different voice. um Another thing I'll share, it's very private. I don't really, a lot of people don't know this about me. Even like friends, I think I've had. I talk more about a lot of this stuff is in the book. The Twin Flame Death book, it's going to be released July 29th. I go into detail about some of the stuff more, but my legal name is not Trisha. That's the name I've gone by since I was a teenager. Before that name, I went by a childhood nickname that my family, like my grandma, gave me. But my legal name that was given to me at my birth was given to me by my father, and I was named after his sister. And he has Indian origins, and so the name, I wasn't raised by my father, so I was raised by my grandmother, so the name, it was never like, well, this is your name and this is the name you need to use. So I never used the name. But as I grew spiritually, especially in my 30s, where I kind of stepped away from Christianity and I started exploring more spiritual and esoteric type of stuff, I was very curious because I knew that my name meant star. So my legal birth name is Parveen. And what that means, the translation, the exact translation of Parveen is Pleiades. And so I knew this even before I went into my work as a psychic medium. I've known this probably for like 10 years or so. But I just never really knew what to do with it. I came across like, the Pleiadians, and I never knew that that could be connected to me and my history as a soul and my origin as a soul. And so, as time has gone on, these past 90 days with John, it kept coming up over and over. Like I kept feeling like I needed to search for answers. And so a reader told me that where me and John originate from, or there's some origin with us within being souls that existed in the Pleiades, living there, coming from there. Um, and I still don't know. That's a whole other conversation that moves away from just being twin flames, right? That's like a whole other thing, and it's not something I just don't know. So I got this book, and I've been reading it for those of you that might be curious about, possibly originating or knowing that you come from the Pleiades. It's called Bringers of the Dawn, teaching from the Pleiadians. And so I'm just started reading that book recently, and so far a lot of it is like blowing my mind. Um, but all of these past 90 days have turned my world upside down as far as my beliefs about just what happens, like who we are as souls and how we can exist outside of this physical world. This physical world is it's such a small part of how we exist as souls and part of our journey. There's so much more to it. I know it. I can confidently say that now. It's even bigger than what I thought doing, my mediumship work and connecting with so many souls on the other side. It goes way beyond that. How our souls can exist in the lives we take on and how we exist in between the lives. And these hard experiences that we have here in these physical bodies, that knowing that a lot of us have chosen some of these hard things to experiences because our soul wanted to learn and grow through these experiences and heal through some of these experiences. So yeah, I think that when I look at my legal birth name, that is it that simple that we could sit there and create our soul contracts and create our own names, even though my father gave me that birth name from his sister? No, I think I chose that birth name. I think maybe there's some truth in that. I think I was hiding, not necessarily hiding, but trying to help myself, like when I know that when I'm going to come here, I'm going to have amnesia. I'm going to have the veil put over me and I'm not going to remember anything. And to hide it in my name would be genius. It would be genius. It would be something I would do or John would do. I could see that, or like my soul family saying, hey, this is a good idea. Put it there because it's going to give you an indication when you start looking for answers. So I definitely would say that, it could be a name for you. It could be some other kind of thing that you've always kind of been like, that's how is that connected to me? I know there's more meaning there. I also will say that doing my psychic medium work for the past 7 years before John came to me, I always felt like I had a hidden power that I intentionally hid in me. And when John came to me, one of the things that came up right away was I was thinking, is he the hidden thing that I put away that has been hidden in me? And I would say, no, I still feel like there's more hidden in me. Like it almost, I keep wanting to say like a power. Maybe it's the knowing that because the veil that we put on ourselves or that's put on us before we come into this life, so we don't remember all of our soul and where we've been and all the experiences. But I still feel like there's more there that's kind of hidden. And it's just, there's always kind of like a feeling like it's right there. So I'm wondering if it's maybe more gifts, and more things we're able to do together, me and John. We'll see. What else can I share about the past 90 days? The past 90 days, there's just so much. The old me is dead. Whoever I was in March for the past 40 whatever years, that person is dead. That person don't exist anymore. If you knew me back then, I am not that same person. Yeah, I'm not her anymore, not at all. All the beliefs that I've had around spirituality, even about who God is, have been just dismantled. They've been dismantled and they're being reconfigured as we speak. Even what I believed about love, the whole point of all of this, why we have soul merging with our twin flames, the simplest way that I can define it is love. That's the simplest way I could define our purpose. Every soul, why we're all here, why this world exists, for love. That's what we're here for. We're here to grow and become more of the unconditional love that we were created to be. The unconditional love is not outside of ourselves. It's not just what we do, it's who we are. It's the essence of our soul is to be unconditional love. That's why we were created. And so we have these experiences lifetime after lifetime to become more of that, to become more of our truest selves. And so that's how I can define everything and sum everything up for those of you that are having twin flame experiences where your twin is in spirit. And maybe you haven't had a soul merge yet, but your twin flame is in spirit. You know who they are. You shared some time with them in this life. Maybe you didn't know that, like me, I didn't know for 28 years John was my twin flame. I just knew he was my boyfriend when I was a teenager that died suddenly and that I had a deep connection with. I should have seen some of the signs were really interesting, how connected I was to his family. I learned in the past 90 days that my current partner knew John before I knew him. When John was a kid, he also knew John's mom and sisters. He was like friends with the family. So there was a big association with my current partner and John and his family. And even there's like dates and birthdays with John's sister, with John and my son, with my partner and John's sister, like all these synchronicities. So I would absolutely say that my partner, and I met him through his father, I would say that they're part of my soul family, and that we all came here together to help each other in this life and to fulfill whatever we wanted to do, whatever, however we wanted to learn and grow and love and heal. Absolutely. And it was crazy to hear my partner like tell me about John before I even knew John, before we dated and were together as, I wouldn't even say dated, before we were together as teenagers. He was like, yeah, when John was little, I called him speakers because he always had headphones and he had a big speaker in his bedroom, and he was telling me like memories he had. And so it's really crazy. One of the things that I've learned in the past 90 days, having the Twin Flame support group and sharing my experiences, that every twin flame experience is unique, and every twin flame death experience is unique. This is just my experience, and every twin flame death soul merging experience is unique. No two people have the same experience, and the experiences can be very, very different. There are, key things that do stand out to me that are similar, such as the healing that happens when two twin flames merge souls. There's a lot of healing that happens in that, and them aligning more with their purpose of being here. I feel like, I've always known that I'm a very creative person. I'm an artist. And so I always thought that it was just me. And now I know that John has been helping me all along. The past 20 years, he has been helping me and creating with me. But now I'm aware of it. And since we've merged together, I feel the need to create so much more. Like, I have a book coming out in less than a month with John, but I have two other books that are lined up to come out after, that are vastly different from each other, but very much spiritual and very much soul based. That I'm just like, I'm over here like creating in my mind with him. And I've been turning over some really interesting ideas. And I don't necessarily know if he's giving them to me, because even though our souls are merged and even though I'm a medium, I can't hear every word he's saying. He uses music a lot to communicate with me. I've shared it time and time again in the mediumship circle and in the Twin Flame support group. But if you go on Spotify and you're trying to get messages from your loved ones in spirit, do use Spotify, because they show lyrics on a lot of their songs, and you won't just get like one or two songs. You'll get whole playlists from your loved ones in spirit. So it is a great resource for spirit communication if you want to hear from your loved ones, whether you're a twin flame or not. It is great. So John gives me like playlist after playlist. And I have so much. And I just came up like the other day, I was like, you know what? Now I'm going to create a playlist for you. So I'm creating a playlist for John, just because it's a cute, loving thing for me to do. But there's just, I lost my train of thought here because, oh, I've been playing around with so many different ideas of things, and I think that there is something to be said about how we can create energetically. Like, it's almost like, I know manifestation is thrown around a lot, but it's almost like if I can visualize it and I can create it with John in our minds, and we can fuel it with our love. It's something that's being created with our love. It's like a whole different thing. I've created businesses, I've created art for the fun of it. I've created so many different things in life just for different purposes. But when I create with John in love, and I can visualize and talk about it with him and join him in that creation, and know that, okay, we're putting this out in the world because we're loving these people, we're loving these souls, and we want it to help them in some kind of way. It changes things. There's something very powerful about creating in love, and that's actually one of the books that I'm going to be writing. I have two more books with John. There may be even more books. I don't know. Sylvia Brown told me to write the books, so there may be even more books. But Yeah, there's really something powerful and a lot to be said about creating. So do look for that book that me and John are doing. Everything is with him now. It's such an honor to be able to put his name next to mine on these things that we're creating, these books that we're writing, and just whatever we create together. And just openheartsnow.org, everything through that website is just us creating, and so much of it is free, like the free weekly mediumship circle and the free twin flame support group every week that we do these things on Zoom, and it's all free, and we just give it freely because we love and we want to give our love away. And that's what we're doing. What else? I don't know. I feel like the past 3 months, it's like I said, it's not the old me. The old me doesn't exist anymore. It's like I'm more me than I've ever been. I am the most truest. This is like closer to who my soul is. Not to say that I don't still struggle with like stuff here in the world and ego stuff. And like, I think that stuff will always exist. I know that I'm always work in progress here, but it's just been the most beautiful experience that I've ever had. The most joyous, the most loving, the most complete, the most full. Every day I wake up is a gift. Everything with John, that I get to feel him in my body. I get to create love with him. I get to help others with him. I get to work out. I get to do yoga with him. We do yoga together. I just got a punching bag because I learned from his sister that like he liked boxing. So we're going to start doing that because I also feel like it's very important to take care of my body more than ever, because this body is housing both of our souls. When I think about our souls, and I think about how we're existing in this body here, I think about our soul as more fragmented than just the two pieces that are in this body right now. I don't know, but it really feels like that when I think about our higher selves, when I think about John still helping in other ways outside of this body, like helping his family, helping other people, showing up in other ways. I just think that there's more versions of us that exist outside of this body. And this is two of the pieces coming back together. And, a lot of times people will say the twin flame experience is not meant to be romantic. I don't know. Like I said, everybody's experience is so different, but I would say that this is a spiritual and soul experience, the twin flame experience, but it is also, because of it, we are meant to experience a very big, full kind of love, a full kind of love that you just don't experience between a parent and a child or siblings. You only experience this kind of love when it's like a romantic type of relationship. And that's what I would say is included in the twin flame experience. Absolutely. It's the deepest way that our souls can experience unconditional love in its entirety, other than from our creator, I would say. It's just because think about it. When you have a loving relationship that's romantic, you learn from each other. You're forced to grow. You don't necessarily have these kind of things with a parent and child or a sibling relationship or best friends or any other kind of relationship. The love it's a different kind of love that really makes you go outside of yourself. And when it comes to twin flames, it makes you do that to the max. I would say that there's so much healing. I would say that there's also fear that I've had that's come up a lot. Like the fear, especially since the beginning of the past 90 days. And I keep working at it and I'm going to keep working at it. But it's like the fear that I'm going to wake up one day and I'm not going to feel John with me anymore in the soul merger. That scares me. That scares me a lot, because how can I have such a beautiful, complete experience and then it be taken away from me? So I don't know. I don't know if this is for the rest of my life. I hope and pray more than anything. I think that this is for the rest of my life, because this has changed me, but it's also, I don't know that I could be this person on my own, or that I would be able to work at the capacity that I do. Um, with giving this love away and creating things out of love. It's just I feel me with him. And without him, I didn't feel I just felt different. It felt harder. I would say also these past 90 days, things have come with a lot of ease, where my whole life, things have come with a lot of struggle. Everything in my life felt very much like struggle all the time. And with him, it feels like the path has smoothed out. And I feel like it's him doing it, but also wonder how much those in spirit that are helping us, because I always want to give everybody credit. I give John credit. I give those in spirit credit. I give God credit, because it always feels like this is a collaboration between me, John, our soul family, those in spirit that come through to help us and love on us and support us, the God that created us and loves us. Like, there's no way. We're all connected. You know, this goes back to what I said to simplify all of this. It's all about love. That's why we're here. That's why we're all here. And so we're all, once you can tap in to the consciousness where we're all together on, I like to call it a love line. If you can tap into the love line where those in spirit exist, where our creator exists, where our twin exists, where we exist, it's like the highest version of ourselves that we can be, just embodying love to the max. And you can tap into that love line, you're going to feel like things that you've never felt before in this life. You're going to be able to heal. You're going to be able to have clarity and understanding that doesn't come from a book or somebody else dictating what it is, because most of those people that are dictating what it is are freaking wrong. And they're adding their own beliefs and their own projections and their own limitations on what things are. That's why I always tell everybody, when you're learning spiritual stuff from other people, you take it with a grain of salt, because that's from their limited perspective and their limited beliefs. And I've seen it even in the twin flame death community. I've seen it in the spiritual community, and you got to stay open. You got to stay open, because if this is possible, if we're able to merge with a soul that has died, so to speak, 28 years later after they've died, and they're able to join our physical body and do all of this, what else is possible? What else is possible? And the way that we look at life and death is for sure fucked up. Excuse my language, but it's true. Like I said, people that are in spirit are more alive than people that are living here in these bodies. It also is a call to take better care of our bodies, because you don't know what's possible. Like, I kind of wish I would have created healthier habits within myself, like in my diet and my exercise routine. So that way my body would be in tip top shape for John to be, his soul to be here. But now we're working on it. And thankfully, like, I feel like that's really important, because these bodies are beautiful. They allow us to have these experiences, even if you know, have limitations with your body. I have limitations with I have like severe allergies and gluten allergies and like bad knees and like all these things. But so what? Like, we're still able to be here. And as long as we're able to be here in these bodies, we need to do our best to take care of them. And it doesn't mean be hard on yourself in any capacity. Don't be hard on yourself, but like, take care of your body, because your soul needs it. It's a vessel for your soul to be here, to learn, to grow, to heal, to love, to do all the things that your soul signed up to do. So it's really important, I think. And if you have a hard day where you don't eat well or you don't work out, don't beat yourself up. I struggle. That's like one of the hardest things, I think, with these bodies, is to like diet, like a healthy diet that's balanced, and like exercising regularly. Really hard to do in a consistent way. Um, and these are just things that the past 90 days, like with John, it's like I feel like there's a light on me. Like, look at these things, pay attention, make some changes, love your body more, even with its imperfections. And so we can do this work, and we can feel good every day to show up for others and love others and give freely. What else? What else? 90 days. I'm telling you, it's like a lot. And then I'm writing this book about, some of it includes the past 90 days. Um, So it's a lot of stuff. It is a lot of stuff. And I would say that if you are someone that has a twin flame in spirit, you are meant to do something with them. It is not over. Just because their body died does not mean it is over. You are still meant to do something. Who's to say you don't have a soul merger experience as well happen? Because it took me 28 years. So you don't know. You don't have the memory. None of us have the memory of that being part of the plan that we have. So I would say, if you have a twin flame in spirit and you are aware, honor the relationship and work together with your twin in spirit, and don't stop doing that, because those 7 years that I was a psychic medium doing the work with John and I didn't know he was my twin flame, that was essential and pivotal for us to be doing that work together. I think it was such an important part of us coming together to be able to have this soul merging experience. So you may not be a psychic medium with your twin in spirit, but you may do some other kind of work that helps humanity. It's all about work that helps the collective. It's all about giving love that helps others. It may be small, it may be big, it may be in between, it could be writing, it could be guiding. Who's to say? But you are not meant to just sit on your hands and not do anything with that relationship. You are meant to work with your twin that's in spirit and love yourself and heal yourself. That's a big component in all of this. Through all of this spiritual stuff, and through all of my life, I have been growing forward, not staying in the past, not staying stuck. And if I ever feel stuck, I think John was always pulling me out of that. Now looking back at the past 28 years, I can see him in so much of my life, all the hard things that I experienced, him always kind of guiding me out of it and helping me go forward and growing and constantly growing and healing. So don't stay stuck in anything. Keep growing forward. Keep healing, because it's going to help you and your twin in spirit, and it's going to help you get where you're meant to, whether you're going to have a soul merger experience or you're going to pick up so many gifts like psychic mediumship. There's even other kinds of spiritual gifts, visions, premonitions, healing others, healing animals. You just never know. So you want to work with your twin and make sure that you're also working on yourself at the same time, because that is essential to move forward and go further along in the path that you signed up for. And I do believe that if you're a twin flame and you have a twin in spirit that you're aware of, we signed up for this. I feel like I can almost say that with certainty, and that would be true for all of us. This is not by chance. There's no happenstance, there's no accidents, there's no coincidences. These are plans that we're living out. I can see it. I just think about the music. I was just talking about the music with somebody in the Twin Flames support group, and how sometimes the music isn't just messages. It's like, haha, I'm watching you. So what I mean by that is, yeah, you'll get messages from your loved ones in spirit, but sometimes, like an example of this, I was listening to music the other day, and I think I was like eating something while I was listening to the music, and it was like talking about eating something. And then like before that, I was doing like my makeup or something in a mirror, and it was talking about, I see you in the mirror. It's like your loved ones in spirit are lining up. I mean, John, as my twin, that he's lining up the music to say, I see what you're doing right now. So it's just amazing. I always feel like at this point in my life and my experience and my journey here, that like what I said in the beginning, like it's like being a movie director, being a writer, being a producer. It's like we took on all those roles while we were creating our soul contract. And we wrote the script and we said, okay, this is what we're going to do in this life. This is who we're going to be. And then we go into a body, and then we live out the life, and we shoot it all. We shoot the plot, and we create this movie, so to speak, of this life. And this is what it is. And of course there's things that can kind of take us off course. There's things that are variables that, maybe this will happen or that will happen. There's like room for improving things, right? But it really does feel like that. And when I look at the music that Spirit sends me and that John sends me, it's kind of that same feeling like things are planned out ahead of time. And then we go back in this reality and live it. You have to remember in this world, we're living on linear time, but when it comes to living beyond this life, beyond this earth, beyond these bodies, that's not linear time at all. That's something completely different. And so I think that's what allows us to plan these lives and exist this way. These lives are very limited. It's almost like we're limiting ourselves here in this physical world. But when you can become sovereign and liberated in your own healing, in your own heart space, in your own awareness, in your own love, in how you operate, whether you're a twin flame or not, if you can get to that within yourself, I don't think we're as limited as we may feel. And that was a big lesson in the past 90 days for me because I felt very limited in this life. I've always been like, I'm just one person, I'm just one voice. How much of a difference can I really make in this world? And how much does my life really matter here? But now I really feel different about that. I feel like, I'm free and my voice is very strong and it's going to have ripple effects. I have Prince is like somebody in spirit that's been playing a lot in my awareness. And I just want to give this example because it's like really fresh for me. But I saw a little bit of the Diddy trial. I don't really follow the news or anything, but something told me just like play it. And I played it and there was a clip of Prince, what he was sharing about like the Diddy parties and the entertainment industry, the music entertainment industry. And in the moment that I heard that, I was blown away. Not necessarily because it was new information to me, because I know that the entertainment industry is so messed up and it's so abusive and everything like that. But what got me was he said that many, many years ago, I don't know, 10 years or more, he recorded that. And it made me think like what I do now, even after I'm gone, or even 10 years down the road, or after I'm dead, and I'm back in spirit, what I'm doing can have such ripple effects. What me and John are doing together can have such ripple effects that it can help. It may not help somebody now when we're doing it, but after we're gone, we can look and watch how it's helping somebody, whether it's one person or several people. So it's really amazing to see that. So if you ever have the same thought, like, oh, I'm just one person, or me and my twin are just two people, what could we possibly do? He's dead and I'm over here trying to figure it all out. Don't underestimate the power. Let Prince's example there show you that you never know what your voice can do and what you're knowing and what your love, and you just speaking in truth and love, what it can do in this world to help, because this world needs all the help it can get. And as twin flames, a big part of our purpose is to help out here. You can't take away from that. Truth is truth is truth. And you have to find your own truth. I'm finding mine, and this is just 90 days in. So I'll probably do another one maybe at like 6 months or whenever I feel called to. I think, rather than maybe waiting for 90 days, I might share bits and pieces here and there. I wanted to, oh, by the way, I should have said this up top. This this video here is going to be the first episode. This is actually part of mine and John's podcast called Heart to Soul, and it's part of justopenheartsnow.org. Everything we're doing there, I'm wanting to do it free. with the mediumship circle, the twin flame support group every week. All that stuff is free. And so this is just an extension of that. And so the podcast is a video podcast that you're going to be able to find this video on our YouTube channel. And then the audio version, you're going to be able to find on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and I'm not sure what other podcasting platforms it's going to go on. So I'll share all the links here. If you're interested in just listening, you can listen if you have an Apple phone, you can listen through the Apple Podcast. If you have Spotify, you can listen through Spotify. And I know people appreciate podcasts because not everybody wants to watch a video or has the attention. You're doing other things while you're listening to the audio, so it's great for that. And just so we can get our experience out there more, because when this first happened, 3 months ago, I was like beside myself. I was like, I did not have any awareness of what was happening, even though my soul probably signed up for it, probably knew what was going on, but my brain, my logic and my awareness in my brain, I'm just like, I don't know what's happening. And I went in search for answers. And I talk about in the Twin Flame Death book that's coming out next month, about how I went everywhere searching for answers. And there's such little information about twin flame death, soul merging, where your twin flame died, or you recognize somebody that died that was in your path that you had a relationship with. They die and then they return to you for a soul merging. There's only like three other people that I know in the world that I found. Is it three people? Four people actually that have said that they've had this experience. And it's not just, a walk in where a soul walks in and a soul walks out. It's not just that. This is very much, I would say, this is very much, if I had to put a label on it at this point in time, which I've struggled to do for the past 3 months, I would say that this is a twin flame soul merging where one twin has died and has returned for a soul merging. I will also put the label of alchemical marriage. I won't talk about that too much in this video. It's in the book, and I'll probably make a whole video about that, but you can Google it. Like these things that I talk about, you can Google and maybe learn some more if you're interested. It doesn't matter what age. I know some people say, "Oh, well, Trisha, you're younger and I'm older." I get that. I hear that. And then like when it's like people where they know they're a twin flame and they have a twin flame in spirit and they're older and they're like, "What am I supposed to do now? I'm older." It's like, well, maybe you're already doing some of it and you don't even realize. If you're doing something where you're helping other souls or helping this world in some way, then you're already doing some of what you're meant to do. Because that's what it is. You're not meant to just like sit here and like make money and no, that's not our purpose. Our purpose is to help other souls here and help this planet. And I very much have known that for a long time, and John just confirms it and brings it to fruition in such a big, beautiful way. I love sharing who John is because my time with him in this physical world was so small. We were only together one summer as teenagers, and now I'm getting to get reacquainted with this beautiful soul, this beautiful man that I think I've known since my own existence because like I mentioned, the love comes from it's effortless. I love this soul more than I love any other soul. And I am a mother and I love dogs like crazy. I love dogs more than I love people. And I can say I love John more. And I don't mean to put people in tears and dogs in tears, but it's just to kind of highlight that the love that you might feel for your twin flame is so deep. And when you have a soul merging like this, you really grasp, like there's an exercise that I shared with some of the twin flame people that this is how you can confirm somebody in spirit is your twin flame. If you have an inkling that they are your twin flame, if you want confirmation that they are, what you do is you send them love. And what happens when you send them love is that love immediately comes back to you and it feels like you're loving yourself. And the way you know that this is true is you can send love to other people you know in spirit. other loved ones, maybe family members that you have in spirit. And when you send them love, it just feels like you're sending them love. It doesn't come back to you. But when you do it to your twin flame in spirit, it feels like the love's bouncing back to you and you're loving yourself. And that is a telltale sign and exercise if you know that someone in spirit is your twin flame, or you have an inkling because maybe you knew them when they were alive and you were together in some kind of capacity and you want confirmation. That I don't, to me, that was like, whoa, that was a mind blowing thing that I learned in the past 90 days that can help other souls as well really recognize. Because for me, it was like, how do I know he's my twin flame? I know he's been helping me as a psychic medium, and I know he was my teenage, boyfriend, but how can I confirm that? And like these little things, it's almost like, when you have the soul merging with your twin, it's like, they just come to you. It comes to your mind, it comes to your heart. You just have these feelings um, that come to you. I would say there's physical experiences that happen too. That, it feels like he's squeezing my body, like my legs and my arms, like he's touching my face. I can feel his energy. I mentioned like when he's healing me physically, I can feel that, or when he's healing others through my hands. I can feel like little droplets of like energy that kind of feel like water when I'm walking, because when I'm in motion, it feels very different. His energy feels different when I'm moving than when I'm sitting still. He can hug me. He can kiss me. There's like more intimate physical stuff that happens that you can feel. You can absolutely make love with somebody that's your twin flame in a soul merging experience. It is absolutely true. It happens. I know. I am evidence and experience of it. Um, and when it happens, you just know. And, even though we don't have awareness of all this stuff, because our souls know, it feels very natural. Um, when it's happening, it's not scary. It feels like we've done everything that I'm sharing. It feels like familiar to me in some kind of way, whether it's from another life, whether it's just how I exist with John in the spirit world. It feels very natural. It's not scary. It's like, hey, I know this feeling. Even John, like I recognize him, like I know him. Like this love feels ancient to me. This feels automatic to me. This love, him, in a way that I didn't recognize him when we were teenagers. I knew we had a deep connection. I knew he felt very protective of me. Our story, the way we met, the way he died was crazy. It was crazy. It was not normal by any means. The connection felt very deep. Like I said, I wanted to take my own life after he died. I remember shoving a photo of myself underneath his body in the casket, and making sure that it was like very, I wanted to place it in a very specific place under his back. Now that I look back at that, that was not normal at all, but I think there was a meaning for the placement where I was putting his photo. And I remember thinking when I put that photo there that um, I wanted him to remember me. And that's not normal at all. So I think, my soul was like recognizing in those moments, just like my soul really recognizes him now. It's easy now because it's a soul merger, and I don't know how long it's going to last. I hope it lasts for the rest of my life, because together we can accomplish a lot more, I feel, and we are the best versions of ourselves. I'm going to speak for you too, John. Sometimes I don't know, what he's saying, and I work on it. I work on it just like anybody else. I don't think because I'm a medium that it makes it always easier. Not at all. I think it's still learning to trust all my clear senses, learning to hear his voice within me, outside of me, even when we look at things like music and what pops up on my YouTube algorithm, if he put it there, or a book that I might be choosing to read that's like a spiritual based book. That's another thing. I've been getting a lot of books the past 90 days with John, just different spiritual books. I'll name off some to you that I thought, that were helpful to me. So right now I'm reading Bringers of the Dawn, teaching from the Pleiades, and that's just because what I told you about my name. Um, I just started it, so I'm not sure yet, but it's like mind blowing so far. um, Your Soul's Gift by Robert Schwartz, talking about like pre-planning your life. He's got a few books, and I listened to one on audio. I did listen to a bunch of books on audio too. Actually, in the past 90 days, I've been listening to audio books as well as reading books. Journey of Souls, I listened to that. What else did I listen to? Oh my gosh, now that I'm thinking about it. And I've read so much, like the book that I'm writing with John, the Twin Flame Death book. Like I've done a lot of research, and most of the research was only because I went searching for answers. I wanted to know what is happening here. Only Love is Real, Brian Weiss. I've always been a fan of his work. I listened to some of that. Your Soul's Plan, Robert Schwartz. I listened to that and read that. Life Between Lives, Michael Newton. That's like a lot of this is past life regressionists. Um, what else? What else? What else? Twin Flames and the Event. That was a really good one. Twin Flames and the Event. I was reading that and I listened to it on audio. Um, yeah, so same soul, many bodies, a lot of regressionist stuff. Twin Flames and the Event, I would recommend that. That's an interesting read, but I don't subscribe to everything in it. Just because I recommend something doesn't mean I subscribe to everything in it. I just think that there's definitely some truths. It's like everything. I feel just even like with the twin flame journey, for twin flames that are living, I think that there's a lot of truths hidden beneath a lot of skewed, distorted things. I think the same could be said about religions, that there's always like truths within these like religions, but it's just, it's all so distorted because of what humans do to it. They take something so beautiful and pure and loving and fuck it up. Um, did I just define the earth? Did I just define the earth? Okay, I've been talking for a long time. I hope that this was helpful. Again, this is the first episode of Heart to Soul podcast with me, Trisha Barreto. I'm a psychic medium and I'm a twin flame, experience a soul merging with my twin that was in spirit. It's weird to say he's in spirit anymore because he's definitely existing side by side. That's another thing I want to say here before I leave here. Having a soul merging experience with my twin, it's essential for me to give him space to exist in this body too, meaning he gets to choose what this body does too. He gets to make choices of how we live our life, of things we say, the things we share. This is his life now as much as it is mine. So I want to always give him that space, and I'm trying to do that every day, more consciously. And so I think it's really the loving and appropriate thing to do when you're having a soul merging experience with your twin flame, because it's no longer, well, I should say your twin flame that's in spirit. It's no longer just your life, it's theirs too. And it's important, right? It's important to love on them and show them that everything that they want to do and have to say and share and experience and heal and all of it is just as important. We're equal in this and we're side by side in this, so to speak. Um, so yeah, and if you're looking for any of the links to this podcast, to the mediumship circle, to the Twin Flame support group, to the book that's coming out next month, to my private website where I offer medium readings and psychic readings and animal readings, if you're looking for my pet art brand, which I offer channeled pet artwork and all kinds of pet stuff and pet readings for pets that are living and pets in spirit. That's there. I'm going to put links all in the description so you can find them easily. Please subscribe to the YouTube if you found this on YouTube. If you're hearing this on Apple or Spotify, please subscribe to the podcast there. Share it if you know any other twin flames. This can be tremendously helpful for them. You don't know if you're a twin flame right now and you're not having a soul merging experience, you never know when that might happen for you. I mean, look at me. And if you don't know somebody's your twin flame, but you suspect that the person you knew when they were living and now they're in spirit and you're kind of like, oh my God, is that my twin flame? Please do use my experience because I didn't know. I lacked awareness for 28 years that he was my twin flame. And we worked together side by side for 7 years almost while he was in spirit. And I still didn't know. So you just never know how these things are going to unfold. And like I said, there's not a lot of twin flame death stories and experiences that people are sharing that are their own. There's a lot of like sharing general information that they believe is true and real, but there's not a lot of people sharing their own experiences where you can see them and you can hear and you know these people really are having these experiences. So do use our experiences, mine and John, and just keep an open mind as you move forward in your own experiences, or you guide other people or say or hold space for other people to have these experiences, because anything is possible. And stay open and remember, this is all about love. Whether you're having a twin flame experience or not, you are here to love. You are here to love yourself, and you are here to love others, and you are here to love this earth, this planet. You're here to even love others on the other side. So keep giving love away. Give it freely, give it easily, give it simply, and give it fully and unconditionally. Okay, I think that's everything I need to say today. Take care.